Hello and welcome to another episode of the Celeby. Here are 14 things that Rosie Perez doesn't want you to know.
Just a reminder of how you can enter our new giveaway in which you can win a new iPhone 12 Pro or a new MacBook Pro. Just leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and watch the whole video till the end.
Number 1. Rosie Perez wasn't raised by her parents. Her parents Lydia Perez and Ismael Serrano were both married to others when they met. Her father later told Rosie he couldn't help himself, he was drawn to her mother. It wasn't clear if Lydia knew that Ismael was married or not. He never really kept it a secret, but then again he wasn't the first to volunteer that information either, Perez wrote. Perez was raised primarily in a Catholic children's home in New York, with regular visits to her mother and aunt. Her father tried to get custody of Perez while she was in the home, but was not successful. Her paternal aunt Ana Domingo Otero Serrano Roque loved Perez unconditionally. I didn't include this in the book, but once when work was slow and money was tight, my aunt cut up some Slim Jims she worked at the factory in Brooklyn and put it in the rice as meat for dinner. We looked at each other and I could tell she was embarrassed, but just then she said, he, and we started laughing so hard, Perez told CNN. That same day, one of the neighbors came over to eat as they often did, and she cut that portion in half and gave it to them. As a kid, you watch it. Nothing has to be said. Her actions spoke volumes, Perez added. When she was older, Perez was invited to visit her mother in Brooklyn, but says she was always treated like the other. Perez's hair, weight, and resemblance to her father made her a target for teasing. Number 2. Perez earned an Oscar and Golden Globe nomination for her role in Fearless. The Brooklyn native is perhaps best known for her role in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, or starring alongside Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes in White Men Cant Jump. But few are aware of her 2 nominations for Best Supporting Actress as plane crash survivor Carla Rodrigo in Fearless. I knew deep inside that I could play this part with ease. I understood loss, depression, betrayal, and how to pull yourself back together. Perez wrote of her character who struggles with survivor's guilt but finds solace with another survivor, Max, played by Jeff Bridges. After landing the part, she tried to quit, scared to explore the character's vulnerability. But when director Peter Weir tapped into her issues with success, she realized she felt guilty about making it out of the ward of the state system. She ended up living with her aunt instead of her mother and reconnected with her father. Weir insisted on not hiring anyone else and reassured her it was going to be great. Number 3. Perez is a 3-time Emmy-nominated choreographer. Perez became a choreographer almost overnight after being offered a gig by A&R executive Louil Silas Jr. to teach his then new artist Bobby Brown hip-hop moves for music videos Don't Be Cruel and My Prerogative. That led to working with Diana Ross, Heavy D and the Boys, and LL Cool J. Those skills caught the eye of Keenan Ivory Wayans, who helped her land a gig as the choreographer for the Fly Girls on In Living Color. That's where she was nominated for her first Emmy for choreography. She later earned 2 more Emmy nominations. Number 4. Perez was discovered by Soul Train and Spike Lee while dancing in clubs. She got her start dancing after being spotted dancing at clubs in Los Angeles and was asked to go on Soul Train. But the show's creator and host Don Cornelius was critical of her moves and her looks. Don Cornelius gave me an incredulous look regarding my accent. I lessened it, he gave a nod of approval, Perez wrote in her memoir. Instantly I felt ashamed. I had my first conscious effort not to sound ethnic. Cornelius also wanted her to dance more like a sexy vixen, drop her hip-hop moves and dress in tight-ass minis and high heels. But one day their disagreement got physical and Perez stormed out of Soul Train, but not before she threw a chicken wing at his head. Years later, the two made amends. It was not the first time she would be discovered out of confrontation. Before leaving Los Angeles, she went out dancing at the same club Spike Lee was having a butt contest to see which black chick had the biggest ass to promote his movie School Days. Disgusted by the contest, Perez decided to make a mockery of it. I jumped on the stage and bent over shaking my ass. Bouncers came over with this little skinny guy and told me to get down. My bravado vanished, Perez wrote. That skinny guy turned out to be Spike Lee. The director was amused with Perez, introduced himself, and days later he asked her to audition for Do the Right Thing. Number 5. Her father had a panic attack in the movie theater when he saw her nude scene in Do the Right Thing. When Perez's first movie came out, her father invited everyone from Aguadillo, Puerto Rico, including the family pastor, to watch. She didn't prepare her dad for her nude scene. It shocked him so much that he was rushed to hospital with what he thought was a heart attack. When the Ice Cube scene came on, my father gasped, jumped up, grabbed his heart and fell out cold, no lie. He was taken away in an ambulance. I felt horrible, I flew down immediately, she wrote. But that didn't stop her father from milking it, as he asked Perez to do it with class next time and let him know if she was doing an artistic film. Number 6. She almost didn't get the part in White Men Cant Jump because the studio had an issue with her ethnicity. I went through several more callbacks. The studio, as I was told, had a problem that I was Puerto Rican. They were worried about the interracial aspect, Perez wrote. But Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson fought to get her the part. She wrote that she was grateful that they put themselves out there like that because that's the only way things change. When everyone joins the fight and you're not the only one rushing up the hill. As Snipes predicted, the movie was a huge hit, which opened doors for Perez. Roles offered to her thereafter were less stereotypical. Number 7. Perez refused to take on stereotypical Latina roles. People told Perez to be quiet and stop pointing fingers at people that were going to give her a job because she would risk hurting her career. But she refused. Hollywood's racist. I knew something else would come along that I was okay with. Sometimes you pay a price by not working as much, but I felt good about myself in the morning, Perez told CNN. Perez measured her success in terms of stability, happiness, and having a real life, even if that didn't mean gobs of money and fame. Number 8. Perez was mentally, physically and sexually abused for much of her childhood and diagnosed with PTSD. Perez, along with other children at the group home where she was raised, were often subjected to the nuns' cruelty. She was also severely abused by her mother, who was mentally ill, she wrote. In her memoir, Perez also writes for the first time that her brother sexually assaulted her twice during her childhood while she visited her mother's house. When she told her mother, Perez writes that she was smacked and punished for lying. Nobody was prosecuted in the case, Perez said in an interview. She said she hopes her siblings are getting help to break the cycle of abuse, she said, because they were all victims. Indeed, it wasn't until she was an adult that she went to therapy. If someone was to punch you in the face for 18 years of your life, wouldn't you go to the hospital to get it treated? It's the same thing when it comes to mental and physical abuse as well, Rosie said to CNN. While not unique to Latinos, Rosie also said there's certainly a stigma in Latino culture about mental health. I've heard racist remarks that refer to getting psychotherapy help as being white, Perez said. We Latinos are selling ourselves short. Like my therapist said, if you're a diabetic, you take insulin. Therapy is not a white thing, it's a clinical thing. Number 9. She was raised Catholic, but she doesn't know if she believes in God. One nun, referred to as Grace in the memoir, her name was changed to protect her privacy, was the only person Perez trusted other than her aunt. The nun said something to her that became a turning point in Perez's life. I don't know if I believe in God, but I believe in something, and she was a definite gift from that something. I needed someone to grab my hand, look me dead in the eye and say, this is what you have to do to survive this, and you can do it. She meant everything to me and still does. I still think about her till this very day, Perez said. Number 10. She's bold and knowledgeable. A seasoned media pro, Perez isn't afraid of answering hard-hitting questions or asking them. Add to that the fact that she's been an entertainer for her entire life, and that's fuel for fantastic interviews with the show's many celebrity guests. With an in-depth knowledge of music, dance, acting, directing, films, books, Broadway and more, Perez knows the industry as well as, or better than the many of her potential guests will, which will equip her to ask insightful questions. Number 11. Net worth. Rosie Perez is an American actress, community activist, and talk show host who has a net worth of $12 million. Born in Bushwick, Brooklyn, Rosie Perez attended Los Angeles City College. Number 12. She's one physical performer. In 2009, Rosie injured her neck on set of Law & Order SVU and had surgery for a herniated disc. Upon meeting President Barack Obama a year later, the actress showed up to the White House in a wheelchair. Number 13. Rosie had a Las Vegas wedding. She revealed to The Insider in September 2013 that she had married artist Eric Hayes during her Vegas trip to see the Floyd Mayweather Jr. vs Canelo Alvarez fight. Number 14. She was a very sad kid. I had a bittersweet childhood. I was a cool nerd, the Oscar nominee said. I knew so many people, but I was a bookworm. My head was down. I had an agenda. I was going to take life by the reins and just go with it. So I understood at a young age that education was my path to success, and I was very, very serious. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel.